adoption of the agenda, the adoption of the minutes, and then you'll give me the fresh. Yes. Good evening, everyone. Good evening and welcome to Community Board 10's General Meeting. Today is June 16th, 2025, and we are very happy to be here at the Knights of Columbus. So we are grateful for the hospitality of our host, the Knights of Columbus. We do have to be respectful of time in our meeting space. We have a hard stop at 9 p.m. Therefore, the public session will be limited to 30 minutes. As a reminder, there will be no additional testimony after the close of the public session. Board members have a long agenda and several matters to vote upon this evening. Each speaker will therefore be allotted about 1.5 minutes. When you come up to speak, I want to direct your attention. Mark on the side over here has a digital clock that will count down to help us all keep on. Once again, the board has several votes this evening, and we want to be respectful to all. So, we begin, I think I'm going to just. This one I think is now working. This one is not. Okay, thank you for that little technical difficulty. It's really kind of ironic that I'm going to be introducing the next person who helps me with all of my technical difficulties. You see, tonight's honor of the pledge goes to a very special person in my life. This is the last night of my tenure as chair of Community Board 10. I have now completed 3 years as chair. And in order to do the job as chair, we need the unwavering support of our family members. And so it gives me great pleasure to welcome my husband, George Kapitsanakis, to lead us in the honor of the pledge this evening. George?
If you would all rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Wait. Not finished. Not finished. George, this is presented to you. The honor of the pledge this evening and for your support of my time as tenure as chair of CB10. So thank you.
It was my pleasure.
Wait, photo op. How many times have you been here, George? Josephine, would you like to get in? Thank you. Thank you, George.
One more representing my work family. Please, in my day job as principal, I get to share my day with my school family, so I would like to welcome up one of my assistant principals, Lisa Fernandez, because they share me too. Thank you.
Lisa, yeah, presents with her flowers. Oh, beautiful. Thank you.
And I hope the rest of you got some cake this evening as well. It seems like very low. They seem very low, Mark. All right. So we're going to go ahead now. Our first order of business is the adoption of the agenda is on the table. Do we have a second? Yes. All in favor? Thank you. Next, we have an adoption of the minutes from the May 19th board meeting. Do I have a motion? Here we go. Yep. And Steve. All in favor? Thank you so much. And now we will begin our public session. We wish to begin by welcoming our Senator Andrew Gennardis is here this evening. Please welcome him.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Jane, congratulations on your tenure. Congratulations on your retirement as well. Both well deserved. And I guess, Sandy, you're next. Condolences? Congratulations and condolences? Yeah. Great. All right. Look forward to working with you as we have with every board chair so far. So good evening, everyone. Great to see you all. I'm State Senator Andrew Gennardis. I missed my December visit because I was sick with the kids. And then I've been in Albany every Monday for the last 6 months. We just finished the Albany session this past Friday at 5 a.m. So this is the first meeting I could rejoin you guys to say hello. I have just a couple of quick things I want to highlight. Number one, our work on the state budget this year took 40 days past the deadline. It was a 40-day late budget. Very, very difficult state budget this year, made more complicated by all the looming federal cuts. I won't go into all the details about the state budget, only to say that New York gets a lot of money from the federal government, about $94 billion against our $256 billion budget. Our staff analysis right now projects that with the current bill, the budget bill being discussed in Congress, I guess it's in the Senate now, New York can lose about $13 billion in health care alone, not to mention food stamps, SNAP benefits, EBT, et cetera. So we're watching all this very, very with great alarm. I think the estimates were somewhere like 2 million people in New York City alone would lose their health insurance. So we're watching the federal stuff very closely because it has such a huge impact on the state budget. I chair the Senate Committee on Budget and Revenue, so this has been preoccupying a lot of my time and my thoughts. Two pieces of legislation I want to highlight for you all that we passed in the Senate this year. One passed the Senate and the Assembly, one did not. First, AI is really powerful. It offers a lot of promise. It's also quite terrifying what some of these AI models can do. And the very people who make these AI models are telling us they don't fully understand what this technology is. And some of the leading computer scientists in the world say there's a 1 to 20% chance that AI might destroy humanity. So we put a bill in place this year that will force these companies to have safety plans in place for the development of their AI technologies. That bill is now going to the governor's desk for her signature. Secondly, on traffic safety, my bill to require speed limiters on cars with 16 or more speeding tickets passed the Senate. It looks like it'll die in the Assembly this year, but we'll try again next year. Our summer concert series starts on July 8th. It also happens to be yours truly's 40th birthday this year. I'm not promising cake, but I'm promising it'll be a fun concert. And lastly, it was really exciting to be able to participate in the naming of the new school on 67th and 3rd Avenue for our very own Joanne Seminara. It was such a beautiful ceremony to everyone that was there. Thank you to the board for your support in making that happen, and to the councilman and SCA as well. I know the beeper already buzzed, so I'm going to say I wish you all a very, very happy summer. See you all in the fall, and thank you very much for being here, everyone.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And next, we wish to welcome Senator Stephen Chan. Please come up. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Congratulations. First of all, I want to apologize. It took me so long since getting elected to come meet everybody, and I'm very, very happy to be here. I want to thank you for coming out here, because that tells me that you care enough about the neighborhood to be here. I came here to do less speaking and more listening to the issues that's going on, although I only cover not a large portion of Community Board 10, some portions of Bay Ridge down to 5th Avenue, and some portions of Dyker Heights to 60th Street. However, I grew up in Bay Ridge. I went to Fort Hamilton High School. I went to McKinley. I went to PS 102. I know the neighborhood. I walked Colonial Road from 71st all the way to 83rd Street every day going to high school for 4 years. And subsequently, I moved to Bensonhurst, where I spent the next 33 years. So I'm here to listen to everybody. I know a lot of friends in Bay Ridge still, a lot of old names like Corbett and McCormick and Johannessons, as well as Italian names like the Venutos and the Conigliaros in Bensonhurst. So I like to get up close and personal. You can always find me. My office is at 6605 Fort Hamilton Parkway, down in the Sunset Park area. And if you see me in the street, stop me. The fastest way to get a hold of me is shoot me a message on Facebook. I'm easy to find. I like to use my personal Facebook page because there's less restrictions on it. We can talk about a lot of things. I like to get very personal with the neighbors. Tell me, I'm here to listen. So, like I said, less speaking, more listening. Thank you very much. Nice meeting you.
And next, from Congresswoman Nicole Malliotakis' office, Lori Windsor is here this evening.
Good evening, everyone. I have two announcements. One is I left flyers in the back. We are having a Service Academy evening session on July 8th. So if you have any friends, families, anyone that you know who's interested about service academies, it's a good time to come and learn about it. The second thing is I would like to read to you a letter. It says, Dear Community Board 10 members, and this is from the Congresswoman, obviously. I am in receipt of your resolution passed at your May 19th General Board meeting and would like to assure you of my commitment to both the Brooklyn Veterans Affairs Medical Center and the Fort Hamilton Army Garrison. The Brooklyn VA Med Center and the Fort Hamilton Army Garrison are extremely important to our community and our military, both veterans and active duty. I am intent on ensuring that our constituents receive the recognition, care, and resources that they so rightly deserve. I have been outspoken regarding any cuts to the federal workforce that would directly impact our veterans and will continue to speak on their behalf. After meeting with both Secretary of Veterans Affairs Doug Collins and Timothy Graham, Executive Director of the Brooklyn VA Med Center, I have confirmed that there are no renewed plans to close the Brooklyn VA Med Center. This follows our successful stop of the proposed closure by the Biden administration. Additionally, both the Brooklyn VA Med Center and the Fort Hamilton Army Garrison have not experienced any impact with staffing cuts. And in fact, the hospital is currently in the process of hiring additional social workers to replace those who recently retired or resigned. Thank you for expressing your concerns, and I look forward to working with all the members of the community to protect these facilities and those that they serve. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Switching out. Next, we would like to recognize from Assemblymember Tanousis's office, Basil Kapitanakis is here. Welcome, Basil. Thank you. From City Council Member Brannan's office, please welcome Kayla Santosuso is here this evening.
Good evening, everyone. On behalf of Councilmember Brannan, he sends his regards. He's over at Sirico's right now for our senior prom, and they are tearing up the dance floor. So he was occupied there. But I'm happy to be here in front of all of you. As Senator Gennardis said, we have our summer concerts. I brought some extra flyers, so I'll leave them in the back. We've got 8 concerts or so with a weekly opening act from the School of Rock, which is a great local program that trains young people in music, so it's going to be great this year. A couple other events is that we have our movie night at Fort Hamilton High School. That is Wednesday the 18th, starting at 6 p.m. And the students actually voted and chose Pitch Perfect 2 as their movie. I think the theater nerds probably had a disproportionate influence on that vote. So Pitch Perfect 2 is available for your viewing. And then on the 28th, Saturday, we also have our silent disco. And I want to clarify what a silent disco is. So the silent disco takes place on the pier, and there's a DJ, and the Parks Department supplies headphones. And so it's basically, you can dance to the music, but nobody else is bothered around you. So it's this great opportunity to go and dance out in the open air on the pier. If you haven't been, it's quite fun. I would try it out. That's June 28th at 6 p.m. And that is all I have for you as far as events goes. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And next from DA Eric Gonzalez's office, please welcome Nancy Lulu.
Good evening, everyone. Hope everyone is doing well. I bring greetings on behalf of District Attorney Eric Gonzalez to everyone. I just wanted, to emphasize, if you are a victim or if you know anyone that's been victimized or if there's anything you would like to address with the Brooklyn DA's office, to please call our Action Center. The number there is 718-250-2340. And I want to conclude with wishing everyone a happy and safe summer and thanking Community Board 10. And I just want to say, thank you for your service. Congratulations. And we'll miss you, and I'm sure we'll see you around. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And next from Councilmember Alexa Aviles' office, please welcome Rob Aguilar.
Good evening, everyone. Just one quick announcement. On the 28th of June, we're going to have a renaming celebration over on 80th Street and 10th Avenue, and it's gonna be in honor of the 125th anniversary of the St. Philip's Episcopal Church. So 125 years in the community, and we feel that that is reason to celebrate. So everyone's invited. The event starts at 11 a.m. And also from the council member to Jane Marie, we have a very special message from her. Jane Marie, your dedication, leadership, and unwavering commitment to our community have been truly exceptional. You've steered the board with grace, wisdom, and a profound understanding of the needs and aspirations of our neighbors. You've tackled complex issues, and you've fostered productive dialogue and consistently worked to make Community Board 10 a more effective and responsive body. Your passion for this community is evident in everything that you do, and your impact as chair will be felt for years to come. We've all benefited from your insights, your hard work, and your willingness to go the extra mile. On behalf of Councilmember Alexa Aviles, thank you.
And thank you for your support of our school. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you, Rob. And next, representing Assemblymember Brooke Krasny, please welcome Richie Barsamian.
Thank you. Before I say anything on behalf of the Assemblyman, on behalf of our community, of course, Assemblyman Alec Brooke Krasny and myself, great dignity. You are clearly someone whose heart is in everything you do. Enjoy everything, and thank you incredibly for your. Everyone, good evening. My name is Richie Barsamian, Director of Community Affairs for Assemblyman Alec Brooke Krasny, 6th Assembly District, who is currently in Albany in session at this time. Just a very quick note regarding a letter that the Assemblyman sent on April 24th to DOT Commissioner Idanis Rodriguez. That letter was signed on by Congresswoman Nicole Malliotakis and Assemblyman Michael Tanusis. The Assemblyman is extremely concerned about yet another potential difficulty with the quality of life affecting the residents of Southern Brooklyn. Of course, everyone, I speak of the rapid and irresponsible plan to expand the Citi Bike program. The Assemblyman, in his letter, joined by his colleagues representing our community to the Commissioner of the DOT, made it very, very clear that this approach of 50 docking stations and losing dozens of parking spots would adversely impact the community, create a dangerous condition take many, many spots which are already in dire need. We're talking about probably between 20 and 40 spots in total, and it would impact our senior community by lengthening the amount that they have to go to if and when they're able to find a parking spot. The Assemblyman is incredibly concerned as to why this approach is such a forceful shotgun, why this is being sent everywhere throughout the community. We need to re-examine this, we need to slow it down, and we need to examine the dangerous impact on everyone, including responding emergency vehicles, and take into account that many months out of the year, when these docking stations may not be used, what is happening? The parking spots are still occupied. Having said that, the Assemblyman is in favor of transportation alternatives, but we must be responsible. We cannot have one take over the other. Thank you, everyone, and good evening. Have a safe summer.
Thank you so much. And now, representing Councilmember David Carr, please welcome Nancy Rosen. Oh, I'm sorry.
Hi, I'm Nancy Roden. I'm with Councilman Carr's office. Just quickly, we have a satellite office upstairs twice a month. We don't have the schedule yet, so we're going to try to put it in the bulletin at St. Bernadette's. Just recently, there were complaints about the Parks Department's construction horses and paraphernalia out taking up parking spots. So luckily, we were able to have them condense it, so we added more parking spots there. And if you have any complaints about trucks, large trucks being parked, you could always reach out to the councilman's office, and we go directly to the precincts and have them removed. That's it. Have a great summer.
Thank you so much. And we'd like to take a moment to recognize from our 6-8 precinct, Captain DeSaro is in the house tonight. Thank you, Captain DeSaro. We also want to recognize Police Officer Mina Gandor from the 6-8 precinct is also here tonight. Thank you for coming out. And we have Eileen Sacco is here, the president of our 68 Precinct Community Council. Thank you for coming out to our community board meeting. We also would like to acknowledge Colonel Misty Cantwell from the Fort Hamilton Army Garrison is here this evening. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, now I can have my others. Okay. So this evening we have about 18 speakers who have signed up. Once again, the clock is on our side over here. We have them in order by different issues that they'd like to speak about. So first we have speakers about the rezoning of 464 Ovington. If I can ask if Nick DeSeglio is in the house, please. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. I just want to take a couple seconds here. I want to thank the board for letting us be part of the discussions during the committees. It was very helpful and very informative. I know you're all going to be hearing the full report, so I just want to keep everyone to have 2 points. First, Ovington Avenue is extremely crowded. There are 4 schools on it already and a new high school coming in. And number 2, oh gosh, I just forgot what I was going to say. Hang on, I wrote it down, sorry. Can I see my thing? So sorry. The other part of is to remember that zoning is an as of right. It's as of right. So if you do rezone, no matter what you try to ask the developer to do, whatever kind of caveats you try to put on, they are as of right able to go all the way up to 95 feet, whether you ask them to be nice or not. So just keep that in mind when you're making your vote tonight. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And next, we wish to welcome Molly Jackson. I think that's your phone? Yep. No problem. Please welcome Molly Jackson, who will also like to speak about the Ovington rezoning. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to the board for letting us be a part of this conversation. I just want to kind of reiterate what Nick said. This building is on a very, very, very crowded block. There's a high school being built. And while we're not happy about the derelict house that's there, and I'm very grateful that Issa is trying to do something with that property, I don't know if an 8-story building will help or hurt the community on that street. We right now are looking at noise pollution consistently for potentially 4 to 5 years between the high school and then this building. And the crowded nature of it is just going to be insanely busy. It's already a packed block, and we're looking at 3-4 schools at this point. So I just don't see how it's going to help anyone who's already currently living there on the surrounding blocks as well as Ovington. So it's just something to consider about how the changing nature of the neighborhood. All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And next, we wish to welcome Marge Stewart, I believe that is. I'm sorry. Marge Stewart, is that correct? Oh, thank you. She is also speaking about Ovington Avenue. Thank you. I wasn't sure if I got your name wrong.
Welcome, I'm Maya Stewart. I'm a homeowner on 72nd Street, right around the corner from that 9-story, 8-story project that they're talking about. This is ridiculous. The congestion and the traffic that will incur on 5th Avenue, on Ovington, which is a very, very narrow street, and then back to 4th Avenue. We have buses honking all day long. We have cars honking. We have people yelling. Everybody is double parked along 5th Avenue. How are these parents even going to access Ovington Avenue to pick up their children? My children went to school there at Lutheran Elementary School. And right now, with that high school, you are going to have 3 schools on that block. And then diagonally, you have another school, IS 30. Why all these schools within those 2 blocks? This is absurd. This will be a nightmare for all the residents in that area. Like I said, it's a very, very narrow block. You cannot even pick up your children. It is impossible. And most of them are little children that have to be picked up, besides all the school buses that are going to be going through. So I am sending a petition around that's being signed. I do speak to people because they were not aware of this. And it's not posted anywhere. I mean, if they look online, yes, they could probably see it. And I will make everybody in that area know about this. They have to know. They will go on their block and sign petitions if need be. This is going to become a nightmare. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And continuing about Ovington Avenue, please welcome Victoria Hoffmo is here this evening.
Thank you so much. Hi, all. I'm not going to reiterate what other people said, but I just want you to be aware that I live on a co-op on 7201 4th. We're about 84 mostly owners. We are obviously not happy about this situation. We also have Myers Block and also Ovington between 3rd and Ridge is involved. So there's several people that are very concerned because it's not just this, it's what's happening in that whole T area from Ovington to 4th. So I'm going to focus on two things. One of my neighbors, Steve, was supposed to come today. Not Steve Harrison, another Steve. But he wasn't feeling well, so I'm going to speak his piece. Many volunteers from the Bay Ridge community spent years working with Councilman Gentili's Preservation Committee and the Community Board to rezone our neighborhood at the behest of the New York City Planning Department. We created a balance between residential and business spaces. The same agency who recommended this is now negating all of our work, and the applicant for the apartment building is doing the same by asking for a rezoning 2.5 times larger than what is permitted. They are also looking to upzone 3 lots, not only the one they are building upon, to avoid illegal spot zoning. The project shows absolutely no respect for the community and, in fact, totally dismisses that process that codified our community's plan and wishes. If granted, it will also set a precedent for other developers to impose the same type of infringement on residential integrity throughout Bay Ridge. And the second thing is, it's not affordable. Inclusionary housing is not affordable. I looked for a I found one down the block for a whole floor of around row house for about the same price, which is probably, I'm estimating, about 30% more square footage. So every single square footage is becoming more expensive, which is going to raise our property values, and it's going to raise our rents. So what is it really doing for the community? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We want to take a moment to recognize Fran Vellamarone is here this evening, former CB10 member and former Dyker Heights Civic Association president. Welcome, Fran. I can't see her. Thank you. And next we want to welcome Joseph Lochisano to speak from the Dyker Heights Civic Association.
Congratulations again. I'm just going to make it really quick. I'm also the president of the Dyker Heights Civic Association. Just want to let everyone know we meet March to June, the second Tuesday of every month, and then September to December. Obviously, the second Tuesday of every month, 7:30 at St. Philip's Parish Hall. We're also having our annual dinner dance October 9th, and we're also offering, we're also having a raffle, 300 tickets, $25 a ticket, grand prize of $3,000. Everyone is welcomed. Our doors are always open, and we look forward to seeing you all. Thank you.
Thank you. We also, Jessica Callow is here this evening from the Borough President's Office. Thank you, Jessica, for joining. And now we will be going on to hear about commentary from our neighbors about the Citi Bike expansion. Please welcome Josephine Piatanza is here this evening.
Good evening. Thank you to the Community Board for the opportunity to speak. My name is Josephine Piatanza. I'm a resident of Bay Ridge, and I'm the petition creator of Reduced Excessive Rollout of Citi Bike in Bay Ridge. I'm here on behalf of the hundreds of residents who support biking as a concept but are deeply concerned about how this rollout is being implemented. We oppose this rollout for 3 reasons. First, the numbers don't add up. Let's talk about the math. The average Citi Bike ride is just 1.7 miles, which makes sense in high-density, transit-connected areas like Manhattan or Williamsburg, where residents can easily commute to work on a bike. Bay Ridge is none of those. We are a residential community with longer commutes to Manhattan, where a bike is not practical. In similar neighborhoods like Sunset Park and the Bronx, station count has doubled while ridership has barely increased. A recent audit by Comptroller Brad Lander found that stations in outer boroughs are broken or empty 20% of the time during rush hour. So the system underperforms precisely in community like ours. The same audit found that Lyft performed 80% fewer bike rebalancing moves in 2022 than 2014 and failed to maintain station functionality in outer borough areas, yet the city imposes no penalties. We can't ignore the financial instability of the operator. Lyft, who runs Citi Bike, nearly sold the program in 2023 due to financial pressure. Meanwhile, membership costs keep rising, pricing out the multi-leg commuters like me who Citi Bike claims to accommodate. If ridership here is low and there's no city subsidy, what incentive does Lyft have to maintain docks in Bay Ridge? Second, safety. This plan puts safety at risk, especially for seniors, children, and pedestrians. Bay Ridge has virtually no protected bike lanes. DOT's own data shows that protected bike lanes reduce injuries by 20%, but none of them are being installed here alongside this rollout. And importantly, And importantly, this community has already spoken. Past proposals for protected bike lanes in Bay Ridge were voted down by residents and CB10. This was direct community impact, ignored now by this plan. If protected bike lanes were rejected, the addition of 50 docking stations is even more out of touch with neighborhood sentiment. Finally, saturation. This rollout includes 50 stations, many of them just 250 to 500 feet apart. That's twice the density recommended by national bike sharing guidelines, which calls for stations to be placed 1,000 to 1,600 feet apart, an 8-minute walk. That would still provide Citi Bike the network it needs to be effective.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And next, we wish to welcome Danielle Long. Thank you, Danielle.
Thank you. Thank you for holding this meeting. I'm here representing my family and many of my neighbors. If my neighbors could just raise their hands, so thank you. We'd like to begin by recognizing what we believe is a shared priority between the Bay Ridge residents and the DOT, which is safety at our street corners and intersections. Unfortunately, the mass installation of Citi Bike stations appears to contradict that very goal. While much of the conversation has been focused on the number and placement of bike docks, a critical component is being overlooked: the kiosks that accompany each station. Each one is 6.5 feet tall by up to 3 feet wide. These large vertical structures severely obstruct visibility, even more so than a standard parked car. A clear example where this would pose a safety hazard is proposed Site 24 at 78th Street and Colonial Road. This is already a dangerous street corner, and even the DOT agreed to remove a parking spot for the sole reason of increasing visibility. Adding a docking station there with a large kiosk would undo that safety improvement. We're also concerned by news just last week, which revealed Citi Bike's parent company, Lyft, initially rejected a request by Mayor Adams' office to cap e-bike speeds and install speedometers. That led the mayor's office to issue the following statement: "We have requested that you, Lyft, immediately implement this new 15-mile-per-hour speed limit for city e-bikes, and you declined to do so. We therefore have determined that an emergency threat to life and property exists." I would ask everybody to consider this, knowing that 69% of Citi Bike rides are on e-bikes, and that's according to Citi Bike's own data. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And next, we'd like to welcome Maria Palma.
Thank you, Chair Kapitanakis, and to the entire local board for your service to the community of Bay Ridge. Bay Ridge, can you hear me? Yes? All right. I'm speaking this evening on behalf of my family and those of my neighbors on Colonial Road. We support Citi Bike locations that are safe and sensible. Locations near population density that will promote Bay Ridge economic and small business interests. Locations that are safe for cyclists and pedestrians alike. Locations that respect quality of life for all Bay Ridge residents. Poorly chosen sites erode safety and general community welfare. The proposed location of, just as an example, one Citi Bike station on the northwest corner of Colonial and 77th Street makes absolutely no sense from a usage, economic, and most of all, safety concern. The neighborhood is a naturally occurring retirement community. Though the median age for Bay Ridge may be 40.1 years of age, many of my neighbors are over 70. This is not the desirable demographic for Citi Bike. Many of my neighbors already have wheels, walkers. More strategic locations would be on commercial areas along 3rd, 4th, and 5th Avenues, as well as along Shore Road near parks, bike paths, and near transportation hubs of subways and express buses. But the most urgent reason is safety. Colonial Road, in particular, the intersection of 77th Street and Colonial, is historically unsafe for cyclists, pedestrians, and car traffic. I've driven across that intersection from my home hundreds of times. The sight lines, even with the daylighting spaces for buses along the road, is extremely limited. I fear for the safety of pedestrians, my neighbors, our children, and the safety of cyclists. Thank you for your time and your wise consideration of the safety and welfare of the Bay Ridge community. Let's work together to find smart, safe, and accessible sites for city bikes that make sense and don't create potentially dangerous and tragic situations. Thank you.
Thank you so much. In the interest of time, the next person to speak will be Stephen Siciliano, and the person after that will be Carmen Feliciano. So Carmen, if you want to wait over here on the side, Stephen will come up to speak, and then we'll keep calling in that way, because we have quite a few members who have signed up to speak, and we want to give everyone their time.
Thank you. I acknowledge the merits of the bike sharing program. However, I object to the sheer number, placement, and rationale used to determine their location in Bay Ridge. Consider this point. As identified during a recent PowerPoint presentation, nearby Citi Bike docking stations average just 16 trips per day, or less than 1.5 trips per bike per day. Hardly enough to justify the presence of 50 docking stations and over 600 bikes. Several docking stations are proposed for Colonial Road. Frankly, this is an overkill. This is an area occupied by 1- and 2-family houses. The population density along Colonial Road is too low to support the proposed number of docking stations. Any time of the day, there are few, if any, pedestrians, and even fewer who would utilize bike shares. I'm 75 years old, and I'm sure many of my neighbors feel the same way. I'm too old to get on a city bike, confront traffic, pedal up to 3rd Avenue to get a loaf of bread. Though I support bike sharing, I propose limiting the number of docking stations. Eliminate the proposed locations on Colonial Road. It should be noted that the DOT City Bike feedback map indicated Colonial and 77 with only one yes vote. Locate docking stations in areas that are greater population density. Docking stations that are located in Bay Ridge should be located close to the R train, the ferry terminal at 69th Street, shopping, and at locations along Shore Road Park. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Steve. Okay, I think that was somebody else's. Okay, next Carmen is going to be coming up, and if I could ask Jenny Winter to come to my side to go after her.
Thank you. My name is Carmen Feliciano. I'm on the traffic committee for the community board, and I'm also playing a role today as an older adult advocate. I started a petition a few weeks ago. I now have over 1,100 signatures and counting, because many people want to help and be included. Adding 800 more e-bikes to our small town has older adults who I have spoken to on edge. Data doesn't capture the fear that we feel walking out of our homes daily to do errands and have to walk and are afraid to even sometimes walk on the sidewalks and cross the streets. Because some cars, while they may be reckless, their recklessness can be identified. A scooter zipping by an older adult is enough for them to lose their footing and fall without even being touched. I heard countless stories from people who signed the petition. My concern is that Lyft, the owner of Citi Bike, a less than stellar company, do something good. Like I propose that when somebody gets a bike, that they get a text with the rules of the safety of the road as a reminder. And also, in addition, all city bikes should have a visible, identifiable plate so that if there's an issue, it can be reported. As for parking, no street stations, because many older adults who want to age here in Bay Ridge rely on their vehicles to shop, go to doctors, especially those with mobility issues. This petition was sent to CB10 elected officials. Some of the cycling advocates dismiss older adults as unrelated, their fears. This is not an us versus them. This is letting you all know we're afraid. And adding more e-bikes to the number of vehicles and cars and scooters that are disregarding the rules of the road has got to stop. Some of the adults in this community, not only seniors, at this point, I'm going to say all adults, are a little bit fed up with what is happening. And I would like people to remember one thing. Don't make this issue convenient for a handful of people by making it inconvenient for the residents and the people who live there all their lives. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Carmen. Next, Jenny Winter will be coming up, and if I can ask Elizabeth Siso to please come to the side, you will be next. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming to Community Board 10 to listen to our issues of the Citi Bike that we're all. It sounds like that we're all pretty unhappy about. I mean, a countless person that I've listened to has pretty much said everything that there needs to be said about. You have statistics, you have the safety issues, you have I feel like it's David against Goliath, because Goliath being the Citibank, and us individuals who are homeowners are kind of stuck with this decision. But I don't really think that decision has been made yet. And I hope that with the strength of everybody here and those who support our communities and our residents will hopefully put a stop to some of, if not all, I doubt that all, but at least some of them in our community. I live on a block on Colonial Road between 77th and 76th Street. And that is a unique block because on one side of the street there are no driveways. It's all attached homes. So we have nowhere to bring our car to safely without double parking to unload our groceries. So what we usually do is we pull up our car up to the corner on 77th Street and Colonial Road. It's a free spot. There's no parking there. It can probably accommodate maybe 2 additional cars there before it hits the end of the curb. We all park our cars right on Colonial Road. There's about 9 spots there. 5 north of the hydrant and 4 south of the hydrant. Now, if we put those Citi Bike stations right on our only spot where we are able to load and unload our packages or get our taxi that brings us safely right up to the curb, it could be pretty dangerous. We have seniors that are, I'm almost done. We have seniors who are, as Marie said, on walkers, and this is the only place where they can accommodate that. But more importantly, what I think was very overlooked was that this is a school bus stop. We see parents waiting for their children there. How can you put a bike station where the children are let off after school? This is insane. I mean, are you kidding me? You can't have a bike station where our children are coming off the bus being picked up by their children. So I appreciate your consideration in stopping that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And Elizabeth will be coming up next, and then we have Jeffrey Diamond. Jeffrey, if you could come to the side. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My friends, my neighbors. I live on 79th Street, and I'm here, much like the rest of you, to voice my support of the expansion of bike share into Bay Ridge. I've heard, several speakers before me say that this is a transportation option that's sorely needed in Bay Ridge, and I am here to echo that. I think, when our train is down, when our bus services are cut, This is a neighborhood that needs options, and we need the same options as the rest of the city. We've been left out of this program for years. This is the type of transportation options that we need in the city, and I've heard speakers before me speak in support of transportation alternatives. So I want to say that the dock usage data shows that disproportionately the dock usage on the northern end of our neighborhood, which is where the only docks are, is used at a much higher rate than all of the neighboring docks in the vicinity. That speaks to me, that shows demand, and I will say, you know, hearing anecdotally people say that this bike share program is a transportation alternative that is needed in this neighborhood, I think the data shows that as well, and that's why I'm here to support the bike share expansion into Bay Ridge. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next, we will welcome Jeffrey Diamond, and if I could ask Andrea Medevere to come over to the side. Thank you. Jeffrey? Oh, sorry. I didn't know you were behind.
I'm quiet like that. Sorry. Again, I'm also in support of the Citi Bike. I'm also in support of the Citi Bike, and I just want to make people aware that it's a transportation system. Placing only a few docks in the neighborhood does not complete the system. It's just like the subway, it's just like the bus. Subway goes all the way down through the neighborhood, buses stop all through the neighborhood. So placing only, as suggested at a previous meeting, starting with 5 docks or 10 docks, this system won't work. Placing them in residential areas is required because most trips, just like with your car, start at home. And they go to shops, they'll go to the ferry, they go to other neighborhoods. And when people return from the ferry or for other neighborhoods, they also want to return close to their homes. So that's why they're needed in residential areas. Some of the dock locations have already been suggested to the DOT to be changed. I don't know if the 78th and Colonial is one of them, but there were quite a few dock locations that were suggested in the previous meeting last week with the Transportation Committee to change some of the dock locations. So I hope that alleviates some of your fears. Maybe that one on 78th will be moved as well. I actually went to that corner. Somebody suggested that a 4-way stop sign should have been placed there, which I happen to agree with. A 4-way stop sign should have been put there. Maybe that's something the community board could take up and request a stop sign at that corner to make it even safer. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. And as Andrea will be coming up, please, if I can ask Florence Dean to come up and to be on deck.
Thanks, everybody. So I'm an adult and a homeowner in Bay Ridge, and I'm not afraid of bikes. What I am afraid of is cars. Have you ever been hit by a car? Because I have. It sucks. It's not great. I think all the cars in Bay Ridge are too big. I think there should be less parking so fewer people have cars. Thank you.
Thank you. And as I said, Florence will be next. And if I could ask John Patrick Murphy to come up on deck. Thank you, Florence. No, just hold it near.
Good evening, everyone. I think the key question is what data is there to support the imposition of 50 bike locations in Bay Ridge, a residential neighborhood? I would submit there is none. I have yet to hear residents say there is a need, much less a compelling need, for that many locations. I have yet to hear a business owner on 3rd Avenue or 5th Avenue, any of the restaurants I go to, the bagel stores, say that, you know what would be great for my business? Having a Citi Bike station right there. There simply is no, and I don't hear people walking around saying, you know what this neighborhood needs? More motorized bikes. What I do hear is people on a regular basis, almost a daily basis, saying, you know what just happened to me? Go to Food Town. You know what just happened to me? I was crossing the street with the light. One of those e-bikes came along, going against the light, and damn near hit me. That is true on almost a daily basis. You know who does have an interest in 50 locations? Citi Bike. And why does Citi Bike have that interest? because they intend to make money. Has Citi Bike and its components, Lyft, Citigroup, any of the hedge fund investors that have put up money for this, have any of them put forth a safety impact plan? I believe the answer to that question is no. Unfortunately, my time is up, but I appreciate you listening. Thank you and congratulations.
And as John Patrick Murphy comes up, if I can ask Janine Aquafreda to come to the side.
All, is this, can you hear me clearly in the back? Okay, great. John Murphy here. I just have a couple of quick comments. Overall, my comment is not pro Citi Bike. It's not against Citi Bike. You can take it whichever way you want to take it. But my comments are this. When you're a community board members, you're supposed to act in the general interest of the community good. Not for personal interest, not for parking spaces. We have congestion tolling. The next thing is going to be what? Congestion parking. It's inevitable. The streets are not going to get any bigger when the population is increasing. More cars, less space. Also, one thing that's never thought about during the whole conversation is the possible health improvements of the community by riding bicycles. And also, for the seniors here, who pays Medicare premiums? Everyone, right? Perhaps better health in the future will reduce the cost of what's called medical inflation. Every year those premiums go up. Think about that. And at the end of the day, we really don't own the streets. It's a community space. And I guess that's all I have to say. And one last thing, let me just make one last comment. Before all this came down, the first right of women, is there women here in this audience? Okay, one of the first rights women ever got was to ride a bicycle. That was way before the right to vote and the right to smoke. Think about it.
And as we welcome Janine up, if I could ask Bob Mulberry to come to the side. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Some of you were at the rally that we had last week to speak about this inappropriate Citi Bike rollout. And I come from a unique perspective because I haven't just lived and worked here. I also travel all over Brooklyn, and I can tell you this is not about bike stations. That's what it's about now. Bike stations first. Then you're going to have protected bike lanes. Then you're going to have 2 roads turning into 1 lane. Then you're going to have 2-way turning into 1-way. So we need to, thank you. I want my time back for that. This is something that really needs to be done correctly. And I have serious concerns because the community board has been pushing back on this for many, many years, but yet here we are, and they're going to roll out 50 stations. And again, this is not just, I don't want to reiterate and duplicate what other people have said, but we also have to think about the quality of life when these things are put into effect. So if we're doing big infrastructure planning, this is noise, this is pollution, this is disruption to our small businesses. These businesses survive month to month. Any delay in people getting to their door, any obstruction of their visibility could mean our small businesses closing. So if that's what you're for, go ahead with your 50 Citi Bike docking stations. And by the way, if this was really about being healthier, then the people pushing for these bike lanes wouldn't be taking their biggest donations from Lyft and Uber, because those are the cars flooding our streets. They want us to get rid of our cars, but they're going to flood the streets with their cars. And so, yeah, the streets belong to us, not them.
Thank you so much. And as Bob comes up, if I can ask Jack Latore to come to the side, and Jack will be speaking about a new topic. Thank you.
I'll try to be very brief. My name is Bob Mullery. I've been a homeowner in this neighborhood in Bay Ridge for close to 45 years. I just want to, everything I've heard here in terms of people having issues with the plan that has been proposed, I pretty much generally agree with. And I want to say and emphasize, again, we have to have effective and objective fact-finding as to the community's need for these bike stations before proposing any plan. None has been done or presented to the Community Board 10 here. And let me just cut on a couple of things that I think are of note. With respect to risk, in terms of people's concern about bikes and the kind of dangers they might present to them, per the DOT's numbers from 2021 to 2024, 6 pedestrian fatalities were due to e-bikes in New York City. With respect to, again, DOT again, period of 2021 to 2023, 923 pedestrian injuries due to all bikes. Now that's all bikes, but I got to believe there's got to be a lot of e-bikes in there. But to the extent that we don't know, that's all the more reason why you need an effective data finding process. I might add with respect to fatalities, just Google, and that's what I did, 20,025, there have been at least 2 pedestrian fatalities in Brooklyn. One in Greenpoint in March, and another one, I think, in the Flatlands area in early April, a 49 and a 44-year-old man, respectively. Finally, last, just let me indicate this. I know something was mentioned about Lyft. Lyft bears no responsibility for anything that goes on here. It provides no insurance. If you get hit by it, you're on your own if you're hit by one of these bikes. There is no insurance that is required by Lyft. They don't provide any. There's none that's required by the rider. These are motorized vehicles. In my world, wherever you have motorized vehicles, you have effective regulation licensing. It may not be perfect, but it's a good start, and it enables people to have some degree of confidence and safety in terms of the vehicles that are there. Thank you.
Sorry for going over. Thank you. No problem. And now we will have Jack Latore come up to speak with us about traditional Medicare and the Aetna Medicare Advantage. He will be followed by Richie Barsamian, who wishes to comment on this same topic. After that, may I ask Matt Voskov to come up as well and to be on the side. Thank you. Thank you, Jack.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Actually, I'm not going to be talking about the Medicare issue because I had the opportunity of addressing the Senior Issues, Housing, Health, and Welfare Committee of Community Board 10 last week, and they're pretty much going to vote on that proposition tonight, so I have full confidence that they will do that. So I'm not going to take any more of your time, but I did want to give a shout-out to Steve Chan in the back, Senator Chan, and Richie Barsamian. Both of those gentlemen I had the privilege of working with the NYPD. So everyone have a good night. Get home safe.
Thank you. Now, Richie, earlier to speak on behalf of our Assembly member, I just wanted an extra on the topic.
Good evening again, everyone. Okay. Can you hear me? Okay. Good evening again, everyone. I am here representing myself at this time, Richie Barsamian. I'm not here for any other purpose. Although the community board has been unbelievable, exceptional in listening, just a very, very brief thing. To those who are municipal retirees, who are currently municipal workers, I'm here speaking about City Council Proposal Bill 1096. No matter what your age is now, at some point, if you are a municipal worker or a relative of one, you will be 65. You will be eligible, hopefully anyway, you will be eligible for Medicare. So here is a question. Do you want your rights taken away after municipal retirees have won 11 times? I repeat, 11 times they've won in court. But the New York City administration continues to try to oppose agreements that date back to the Lindsay mayoral administration. And what they're trying to do, ladies and gentlemen, is force, I repeat, force municipal retirees out of traditional Medicare and put them onto what they call Medicare Advantage, which, ladies and gentlemen, I've given a name to, and I call it Medicare Disadvantage. So I ask you to please, Community Board 10, do what you do best, protect our communities, but please remember, it may not affect you now, but one day, if you're not a municipal worker, you may be, it will affect a family member or a friend. People do not need an additional individual or a corporation preventing them from accessing their medical care. This is common sense. It's a human right. Let's honor our retirees, and thank you, everyone.
Thank you. If I can ask Matt Voskov if you are here. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Mav Vaskov. I'm an outreach coordinator, and today I'm representing Catholic Charities Brooklyn and Queens case management program for homebound seniors 60 years of age and older. I'm not going to take too much of your time. So the services that we are providing, we're serving a homebound senior 60 years of age and older with the free services that are funded by the New York City Department of the Aging. And these services include assessment, creation of comprehensive care plans, benefits and entitlements counseling, linkage to home-delivered meals and home care, counseling information and referrals, and of course caregiver support. The program addresses all issues associated with the advanced age, and all of those are free. You don't need to have an insurance. You don't even need to have an income. As long as you're meeting two requirements. You have to be 60 years of age and older, and you have to have a homebound disability. And when I say homebound disability, that doesn't necessarily mean that you cannot leave the house whatsoever. It just means that you cannot leave the house as often as the person who doesn't have a homebound disability. Like, for example, just visiting the dialysis center if you have kidney issues, or doctor's appointment for whatever reasons. And so like I said, the services are free. The requirements are very easy. No income, no insurance, and in order to apply for those services or recommend those services to those who might be interested in those services, please give us a call at 718-514-8035. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. This concludes our public session. It did take longer than 30 minutes because, my friends, we had 28 people sign up to speak tonight, and that really represents the heart of our community, and we're very happy that so many of our community members came out to speak for us and to us this evening. Thank all of you. Next, we move on to our public hearings. Please welcome Chair Chris Ellison from the next few items on our agenda.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm going to try and be as quick as I can. Right. The Police and Public Safety Committee meeting was held on June 9th, 2025. The meeting was a hybrid meeting in person at Community Board 10 District Office and on Zoom. We had 5 items on the agenda. The first item on the agenda was for a new SLA license for wine, beer, cider application for Narrows Coffee. I'm sorry? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not holding it as close then. First item is for a new SLA license for wine, beer, cider application for Narrows Coffee Incorporated, 10001 4th Avenue. The applicant, Richard Rosen, who was owner, was present on Zoom. The applicant had previously applied in January 2023 and was approved by Community Board 10 at the General Board meeting held on January 23rd, 2023. The applicant has not opened and is required to meet with the board since it was more than 1 year. The applicant had agreed to the following stipulation on January 27th, 2023. The premise will operate as a restaurant. There will be no sale or consumption of alcohol on the premise until the appropriate license is issued by the SLA. Applicants will not serve or allow BYOB until their license is obtained. The owner or manager will be on site during all hours of operation. The hours of operation will be Monday through Thursday, 6 a.m. to 10 p.m., Friday, 6 a.m. to 11 p.m., Saturday, 6 a.m. to 12 a.m., and Sunday, 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. The doors shall remain closed with any amplified music. Background recorded and/or music sound levels remain below the level permitted by the New York City Noise Code. There will be no outdoor music. The establishment shall not sponsor or use any promoter or have promoted events. There will be no smoking permitted. Once the State Liquor Authority license is obtained, the committee community board may call upon the applicant to address any concerns that may apply. There will be at least 20% visibility view into the establishment at eye level. The applicant agrees that should it change its method of operation, will give notice and meet with the Community Board Committee at least 45 days in advance of any such change. After a discussion period, the committee's recommendation and motion is to deny the applicant unless the applicant agreed to the above stipulation. The applicant agreed and the motion passed in favor with one abstention. So I need a second from the floor. Carmelo. Any discussion, board members? Any questions? Doris? He was delayed in opening because he's running a few businesses in Manhattan also, and he's been doing renovations. I know. He's saying life has been getting in the way. He wants to open now. Okay. Any other questions? So I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? One abstention. Motion passes. Next item, a new SLA license for wine, beer, cider application for PSENS LLC, doing business as Come On Thai, located at 7803 3rd Avenue. The applicant, Samaret Pakchant, and his attorney, Sherry Chku, were present on Zoom. The restaurant has been open for several years, and this is a new owner. The hours of operation will be Monday through Sunday, 12 p.m. to 10 p.m. There are 11 tables with 22 seats, one bar with no seats. There will be recorded background music, and there is no adverse history at this location. After a discussion period, the committee's recommendation motion is to deny the applicant unless the applicant agrees to the following stipulation. The premise will be operated as a restaurant. There will be no sale or consumption of alcohol on the premises until the appropriate license is issued by the SLA. Applicants will not serve or allow BYOB until their license is obtained. The owner and manager will be on-site during all hours of operation. The hours of operation will be Monday through Sunday, 12 p.m. to 10 p.m. There will be no smoking permitted. There will be no outdoor music. The doors and windows should remain closed with any amplified music. Background recorded indoor music sound levels remain below the level permitted by the New York City Noise Code. Once the SLA license is obtained, the community board may call upon the applicant to address any concerns that may arise. There will be at least 20% visibility view into the establishment eye level. The applicant agrees that should it change its method of operation, will give notice and meet with the community board committee at least 45 days in advance of any such change. The applicant agreed, and the motion passed unanimously in favor. I need a second on the floor to discuss. Joe? So, any discussion? Any questions? I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes unanimously. Third item on the agenda, a new SLA license for liquor, wine, beer, cider application for Maristilu Incorporated, doing business as Picante, 7410 3rd Avenue. The applicant, Marta Benito Sas, was present on Zoom. This is a new location for Picante Restaurant, previously located at 7214 3rd Avenue. Picante Restaurant has been operating for several years with no adverse history. The establishment will have a maximum capacity of 70. There are 64 seats with 32 tables and one bar with no seats. There will only be background music. The hours of operation are Monday through Thursday, 4 p.m. to 10 p.m., Friday, Saturday, and... Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. I'm trying to rush. Second, please. Joe? Ralph, I mean. Question?
I know that they moved, so at this new location, are they permitted to serve alcohol right now?
Yeah. Because I remember she came to the office. Correct. Any other questions? All those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes. Next item. It's review of a renewal for SLA liquor, wine, beer, cider license at DRG Chop House, doing business as Malone's Chop House at 9517, 9519 3rd Avenue. The licensee owner, Greg Fosdale, was present at Community Board 10 office. The review is due to 51311 noise complaints since October 2024 and a change in the method of operation. In the previous application, they stated they would not be using a DJ, but social media posts from and advertise events with a DJ. The renewal application does not have the use of a DJ checked off. I'm sorry. The renewal application does have the use of a DJ checked off. The applicant stated that they did not realize that it was loud when they used the DJ with the windows open, but now they remain closed. The applicant feels the complaints are coming from one source, and the police have responded with no fines issued, and DEP has responded with no action. This is as per the applicant. The applicant stated that he is also soundproofed the ceiling. It was his fault for having the windows open, but now the windows are closed at 9 p.m. and is adding double soundproofing on the windows. The previous stipulation dated on September 2022 stated the following, and it was a standard stipulation that we use, but the only thing that I found, the door shall remain closed with any amplified music. In the new stipulation, we put the doors and windows shall remain closed with any amplified music, and also added the applicant, when utilizing a DJ on every other Friday, the applicant may be utilizing a DJ on every other Friday night from 8:30 p.m. to 12 a.m. The applicant agreed, and the motion passed unanimously. I need a second. Carmelo. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Abstention, recusal, none. Next item, application for liquor, wine, beer, cider for Gourmet Fit Incorporating, doing business as Sarava Bistro, located at 6819 3rd Avenue. The applicant, Lydia Rafael Negro Neto, was present at Community Board 10 office. Sarava Bistro has a wine, beer, and cider license since 2016 and is looking to add liquor. There is no adverse history. The hours of operation are Tuesday and Wednesday, 3 p.m. to 11 p.m., Thursday and Friday, 3 p.m. to 12 a.m., Saturday, 10 a.m. to 12 a.m., and Sunday, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., closed on Mondays. The applicant has live music on occasion. The establishment has 40 seats with 14 tables, 1 bar, and 8 seats. The motion was made to deny the application unless the applicant agreed to the following stipulation. And like I said, it's our standard stipulation. Any questions? Yes. Can I have a second? Pierre. Any discussion? Any questions? I'll call it. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Recusals? Thank you. I'm done. Have a good night.
Thank you so much, Chris. Our next committee report and recommendation comes to us from Jack Zhang from Traffic and Transportation. Please welcome Jack.
Hello, everyone. Just one page. On June 10th, 2025, the Traffic and Transportation Committee met to discuss application number 2024-0731-030034 from Sophia on 8406 3rd Avenue for a sidewalk cafe with 9 tables and 19 seats. Sophia has previously had a sidewalk cafe license since 2004. Since 2023, there have been 23 311 noise complaints. All of these complaints were on 3 specific dates: August 11, 2023, April 28, 2024, and July 19, 2024. The hours of operations from Sophia is 12 p.m. to 11 p.m. each day, except for Friday and Saturday when it closes at 12 a.m. The restaurant uses valet services on Friday and Saturday and does not use cones outside of restaurants to block off spots, but does not know of whether the valet uses private or public parking or of the operations of the service. The committee discussed the valet program and reminded the owner of stipulation number 9 that valet services cannot block or reserve street parking spaces. So this was approved with our standard stipulations, so I'm going to waive the reading of the standard stipulations. I have many more stuff to read later. So I have a motion on the floor here. Motion to deny application number 2024-0731-030034 for Sidewalk Cafe unless the applicant agrees to the following stipulations. Again, these are 1 to 10, our standard stipulations. Do I have a second for this motion? Okay, see a second. Any discussion? Okay, all right, let's call it for a vote. All in favor, please raise your hand. Okay. All opposed? Okay. Mostly because of the disrespect on our valet question. And then any abstentions or recusals? Okay, motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And now it's time for my chair report. So good evening and welcome once again to our June meeting. This meeting is very special to me because it is my last meeting in my tenure as chair. I first became involved with Community Board 10 when I became principal of PS 69 in 2006, and I realized that we didn't have a traffic light in front of our school. Could you imagine a school without a traffic light? Especially in the industrial pocket of 9th Avenue and 63rd Street, where our school is located. I wanted to advocate for the safety of our children, and I contacted 311 and was advised to reach out to my community board. And that's how I met our district manager, Josephine Beckman. I learned that I both lived and worked within Community Board 10, but the area where I worked was not as well represented as the area where I lived. It took time, but with her guidance and the Traffic and Transportation Committee, we had the Department of Traffic do a study of our street, and we got that traffic light. There was so much I learned and so much more to do that needed community involvement. A few years later, I was nominated by former Borough President Marty Markowitz to be a member of Community Board 10. I began by being a committee member on traffic and transportation. And within a few more years, I became chair of that committee, always keeping a watchful eye on safety improvement for our residents, especially for our children. As time went on, I became a member of the executive board, and since 2022, I have had the honor of serving as chair of Community Board 10. I am so grateful to Josephine and Dorothy for their unwavering support and help at every turn. I am so thankful to our officers who are here with me and to all of our chairs for their teamwork as we move our board forward. But one thing I am most proud of that has happened in my tenure as chair is that we have had a much stronger presence within our community and interest from our community. You saw it here this evening. This started to build during the pandemic and the accessibility of Zoom meetings, thanks to social media, thanks to our communications committee, and our wonderful and informative Community Board 10 newsletter that you put together for us. I see a much more active community. As board members, we connect our community to city government. The work we do as volunteers is a public service. We are all advocates and liaisons for our community. Community boards are New York City charter mandated advisory boards made up of community members. We do not make the laws. We have 50 volunteer members and we make important recommendations about land use, zoning, and other local issues. Often we submit recommendations to a wide array of city agencies and advise on local decisions. We are often the first to hear about pending projects in our neighborhood. We can also vote to make recommendations in support of or against projects or citywide initiatives brought to this board. Our endorsement of a city project is not required for a project to go through, but our response is the only opportunity we have to offer feedback and let the voices of our community be heard. The heart of what we do happens in committee meetings, which are where presentations are given by our city agencies. This is where we hear from passionate members of the public who are vested in a particular issue. Most recently, of course, this involved the Citi Bike expansion. Your committee meeting is where board members get to participate in a longer discussion and make a recommendation for our whole board to vote on at the monthly general board public meeting. This is an opportunity and a pivotal time to gather community input. We also have to come together peacefully and respectfully. Some of the issues we have had before us make people very emotionally charged. Some members of the public have even misdirected their anger at the community board. Community members, board members are the volunteers who are trying to keep the community informed. We invite civil discourse. It's a vital part of civic engagement. Yet you can't have civic engagement without being civil to one another. At all times, all board members and members of the public must conduct themselves in a respectful, courteous, professional, and orderly manner. We owe it to our children to be respectful and let them see civic engagement and this community at its best. CB10 is also within Community School District 20, where our school is located, and we are a Civics for All district, meaning that civics education is taught in all of our schools, making civics an essential part of every student's core academic experience. The goal is for all of our children to be engaged community members who can think critically and are empowered to participate in government. I like to think that we're a Civics for All community board, and that civic engagement is not something random for children to learn in the classroom. It's not just about election day or primary day, but there are many ways that you can participate and let your voice be heard. Seeing their family members and neighbors involved, volunteering, taking a stand, and being active in our community board meetings becomes the best way to teach and model civic engagement for our children. As we have noted, board members are volunteers, and we acknowledge and appreciate the gift of everyone's time and dedication to our community. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank each of you for your advocacy over the past 3 years. My term as chair will end on June 30th, and I want you to know how much your volunteerism and community spirit is appreciated. We wish everyone a happy, healthy, and enjoyable summer. Thank you for this opportunity to have served as your chair. Thank you so much for your kindness. I hope you did get a piece of cake. Please welcome our district manager.
Thank you so much, Jane. And on behalf of the district office, Dorothy, myself, and Amanda, we'd also like to thank you for your leadership as chair. I'd like to take the opportunity to say a heartfelt thank you for your dedication to this community board and the help you provided our staff over the last 3 years. Only former chairs truly understand the relationship between the district office and the chair, because we speak quite often, and we really do appreciate it, so thank you. As Jane Marie shared, we first met when she called the district office seeking help to improve street safety along 9th Avenue for the children in her school. And I wanted to share with board members tonight that it was very nice to be invited to attend a presentation at PS 69 on June 4th. And I wanted to give a shout out because I was in the audience when New York City DOT was there with PS 69's dance team to perform its first place dance, We're Walking Here, which was a citywide competition, and PS 69 came in first place. So I think that's awesome, and it is on YouTube on City DOT's website, and I invite you all to. I wanted to do the dance, but I can't. I learned it, but it was really awesome. So please take a look. Also has been New York City DOT. They will be implementing a safety improvement project on Marine Avenue from 95th to 3rd. Enhanced crosswalks at 96 and 97th Street is going to be taking place this week. We had spoken about that a few months ago. I just want to let everyone know it's taking place. And DOT will also be proposing modifications to 65th Street between 2nd and 3rd Avenue. And while this is our last meeting before the summer, our Traffic and Transportation Committee with CB7's Traffic and Transportation, since it's shared in both districts, will be having a hybrid meeting to provide some input about that. And the 68th Precinct will be hosting their June meeting on Wednesday, June 18th, 7 p.m. at St. Ephraim School, which is 924 74th Street. And as has been our tradition, Dorothy is walking here. She's walking here to help me. While we have flowers, we also have 2 gifts for Jane on behalf of the board. The first is Jane. I don't know if many of you have been to the district office, but we have this really neat plaque that lists all the chairs of Community Board 10. And it's really special when people come in and take a look and ask about the chairs. And it's a nice... Jane, you are officially on the CB10 District Office Chair plaque. So you could tear it open and show it to everyone. All right. Jane started the 3rd row. She's up at the top. And we also have a T-shirt that commemorates her time as chair. Jane, if you just want to open that. So it is a Community Board 10, but on the back is number 17 because Jane Marie Kapitanakis is the 17th chair of Community Board 10. Congratulations. So when you wear that, you could think of all of us. And then we just have some flowers for you to say congratulations. And our next board meeting will be the 3rd week of September. I wrote it down here, 15th, and we haven't picked a location yet. That will be emailed over the summer. Have a wonderful summer, everyone. Thank you, and congratulations.
Thank you so much for that. And now, moving on, we will have the treasurer's report. Please welcome Stephanie Simone Mahaney.
Good evening, everyone. Okay, the treasurer's report as of May 31st, 2025. Total personal services is $250,849.18. Total other than personal services, $13,409.69. That leaves an unencumbered budget balance of $25,866.13. Thank you. Do you want to introduce me again, or do you want me to? I mean, I can just go. Switching hats. We're moving right into zoning. May I just? I'm sorry. I just need to. Can you give me a second? No, those are yours now. Okay. Thank you. Okay. This is a follow-up. I reported on this rezoning application at last month's meeting, so these are about the follow-up meetings. Okay, the Zoning and Land Use Committee met on Monday, June 2nd, 2025 in a hybrid format for a follow-up presentation on the zoning change request for 464 Ovington Avenue. The committee met again on Thursday, June 12th in a hybrid format to discuss the proposed zoning change and make a recommendation. There was a virtual quorum for both meetings. In attendance at the follow-up presentation were the applicant, Issa Masood, along with his legal and design team. So I'd like to acknowledge Issa and Richard Lobel, Fayan, and George. Thank you for being here. The application proposes a rezoning of 3 contiguous lots from R3X to R6A to permit the development of an 8-story mixed-income residential building with mandatory inclusionary housing at 464 Ovington Avenue. At the May 14th committee meeting, members and residents raised several concerns about the original design, including building height, impact on neighboring structures, unit configuration, and long-term precedent. In response, the applicant revised the building design and returned to the committee on June 2nd to present updated architectural and zoning plans reflecting those changes. These are the building modifications and the issues addressed. Light well and interior courtyard addition. A central light well measuring 30 feet by 30 feet, expanding to 30 by 40 feet at the top floor, was added to the building's west side to provide daylight and air to both the new structure and the neighboring 5-story with basement co-op at 460 Ovington Avenue. These changes were made to address concerns about blockage of windows, airflow, and natural light access for adjacent buildings. A 5-foot rear side yard for window clearance. A 5-foot side yard was added to the rear portion of the building adjacent to the co-op to create separation between the building's living room windows. This modification is intended to address resident complaints about proximity to their windows and potential impacts on ventilation and privacy. Adjustment of the rear yard depth. To accommodate the light well and revised unit layout, the proposed building was pushed further into the lot, reducing the rear yard from 65 feet to approximately 45 feet. But this still leaves more than twice the required 20-foot minimum under the R6A zoning. The revised apartment mix. The applicant preserved the total number of residential units at 40, but rebalanced the unit types based on committee feedback favoring more family-oriented housing. So the proposed unit mix is now 8 two-bedroom units, which were previously 4, 21 one-bedroom units, which previously it was 28, and 11 studio units. Previously there were 8. The total floor area was reduced from 36,000 to 35,000 square feet, resulting in a marginally smaller building mass. The applicant clarified that the entrance to the underground garage is located on the right side of the building facade with the residential entrance on the left, a design consideration intended to address traffic flow and an attempt to reduce traffic disruption on a narrow block already burdened by school-related congestion. Regarding the roof, the applicant indicated that the roof would either serve as a recreational deck or a sustainability feature. Okay, the committee recommendation. After careful deliberation, and this was difficult, the committee voted to disapprove the rezoning application. It was 5 in favor and 2 opposed, not as a rejection of the applicant's good faith engagement, but due to ongoing concerns about the compatibility of the proposed scale with the surrounding context and the unique characteristics and constraints of the block, including the cumulative impact of added density. Throughout the public process, committee members acknowledged and appreciated the applicant's willingness to revise the design. The modifications were generally viewed as thoughtful and constructive by the committee and several community members. Several residents recognized the revised plans as an initial step in the right direction. Concerns about scale and precedent remained unresolved. The committee emphasized the urgent need for additional housing in CB10 and across the city, while noting that the existing R3X zoning constrains the ability to meet that demand. While it was noted that Ovington Avenue was previously zoned R6 and R5 before the current R3X designation, the current R6A zoning, particularly under City of Yes provisions, was considered too permissive for the block, allowing for a 95-foot structure as of right with no formal mechanism for design oversight. And there were new and reiterated community concerns that also informed the committee's decision or recommendation. One, residents questioned the assumption that increased housing supply would result in greater affordability, noting that MIH units are often priced above neighborhood norms and that higher market rate rents could exert upward pressure on surrounding local rents. 2, despite changes to the unit mix, the small apartment sizes raised concerns about quality of life. 3, the block and its immediate vicinity already includes several apartment buildings, the PSIS 30 building serving grades 3 through 8, the PSIS 30 K through 2 annex, the Lutheran Elementary School, which is K through 8, and a planned 676-seat public high school. Concerns centered on increased traffic, congestion, and pressure on local infrastructure, particularly given that all of the schools, all 4 of them, currently rely or will rely on school bus transportation. 4, the rezoning could set a precedent for further upzoning along Ovington Avenue and beyond. And 5, community members expressed frustration that stipulations made during ULURP are not binding once rezoned development is governed solely by the zoning resolution. The committee also noted the practical challenges developers face in balancing scale with financial viability and understands that not all alternatives may be feasible. Nevertheless, committee members encouraged the applicant to consider other zoning designations. The committee specifically pointed to R6D, which supports increased housing while imposing a more moderate height limit, which would be 75 feet, and floor area ratio would be down to 3, down from the 3.9, which potentially better aligns with the block's character and infrastructure capacity. While not familiar with every zoning option, the committee expressed interest in exploring additional designations that could achieve a more appropriate balance. So the motion, we met in virtual quorum, so it will need a second. The motion is to disapprove the application to rezone 464 Ovington Avenue from R3X to R6A on the grounds that the proposed 85-foot building height and overall bulk are incompatible with the surrounding block and neighborhood character. The committee acknowledges the applicant's effort to incorporate community feedback and recognizes the need for increased housing supply, but recommends that the applicant explore rezoning in R6D or another alternative that would reduce height and scale while still allowing meaningful residential development more consistent with the community context. Is that your second? Okay. Okay. So any discussion? This was a difficult one for the committee to balance both sides. Committee, board, any discussion here? I'm going to call the question. All in favor? Okay, any opposed? Okay, recusals or abstentions? Yeah, there's one. Yeah. Okay, the motion passes. I know you're ready to move on, but I have two short items. These are informational only. I wanted to talk about the City Charter Revision Commission. It was mentioned a while ago that the mayor has convened a commission to change the city charter, and the committee was informed of ongoing work by the Mayor's Charter Revision Commission, which is considering substantial changes to the Uniform Land Use Review Procedure, otherwise known as ULURP. A central focus is whether to weaken or eliminate City Council member deference, which currently allows council members to advocate for community-specific modifications during the land use process. So the Commissioner's preliminary report outlines these key critiques of ULURP, that it imposes too much process on small-scale or affordable housing projects, that member deference, which refers to the council member who represents community boards and community, that member deference deters or reduces the size of developments, and that the process delays the use of city-owned land for affordable housing. However, these arguments have been questioned by some stakeholders and may pose concerns for community members who view ULURP as one of the few opportunities for public engagement in land use decisions. While the Commission frames its proposals as efforts to streamline housing production, others note that ULURP itself comprises only a small portion of the overall development timeline and argue that delays more often stem from environmental review and post-approval implementation processes. There is a concern that diminishing local review, particularly member deference and the voice of the community, could reduce accountability and limit the ability of communities to advocate for modifications that reflect neighborhood-specific needs. Okay, and the last point, which is, I think, happier news, landmarks and local historic preservation. Committee members were reminded to submit recommendations for potential landmark designations within the district. You have a couple of months, maybe one. They were also informed that 2025 marks the 100th anniversary of the Art Deco movement, and a board member, Ralph, will spearhead an effort with assistance from the Bay Ridge Historical Society to highlight notable Art Deco buildings in the area. The goal is to publish related content on the Community Board 10 website and create a community walking tour in the fall. Respectfully submitted, Stephanie Simone Mahaney. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much. And now we move on to our Traffic and Transportation Committee report. Please welcome Jack Zhang.
Hello, everyone. It looks like 3 items, only 2 items. Okay. So on May 22nd, 2025, the Traffic and Transportation Committee met to discuss INT 2024, a proposed local law introduced by Councilmember Robert Holden that would require registration for bicycles with electric assist, registration with the city DOT. This discussion followed an earlier meeting in March. The 68th Precinct Captain John DeSaro was in attendance. The committee discussed a number of topics with the captain and received an overview of issues facing enforcement of these laws. The primary issues for the community are gas-powered mopeds or Vespa-like vehicles that speed, operate on sidewalks and parks, and group ups, which cause congestion. The problematic mopeds are oftentimes stolen through grand larceny auto cases and are oftentimes perpetrated and recklessly operated by juvenile groups. This is a citywide enforcement problem, and given that these are stolen, the lack of licensing and registration for these vehicles make it impossible to hold the riders accountable. The precinct also has a strict no pursuit policy for public safety reasons. The captain also shared collision data for the precinct. Year to date, as of May 22nd, when we had the meeting, the precinct has logged 466 collisions from four-wheeled vehicles, which is up from 457 in 2024, year to date. The precinct has logged 26 collisions from motorized two-wheel vehicles, which is the Vespa-like vehicles, which is down from 28 in 2024. Lastly, the precinct has logged 21 non-motorized bicycle collisions, which is, I guess, the classic bicycles, which is up from 20 in 2024. The committee discussed a number of other topics, including delivery companies and delivery workers, additional enforcement for riders on sidewalks and in parks, and community support through efforts such as National Night Out. The committee again reviewed Bill INT 0606-2024 and determined that it was both ineffective in its current state and insufficient to meet community needs, as number one, it does not address issues with gas-powered mopeds, which already require licensing and registration. Number two, it does not address sidewalk biking, which is already illegal and requires further enforcement. Number three, it does not address contraflow bikers via enforcement or infrastructure needs. Number four, it does not address training for delivery drivers and riders on rules of the road, especially as it pertains to mopeds and bicycles. And number five, lastly, it does not address liability of the delivery companies such as Uber or Lyft when the delivery worker is a party to an accident. So I have a motion on the floor, and this is in virtual quorum. Motion to write a letter to local elected officials to express comments on INT 0606-2024 that the proposed law is ineffective and does not address the core issues facing community, and the board is in support of amending the bill to further directly address local issues. And a list of five on gas-powered mopeds, bikes on sidewalks, contraflow bikes, training for delivery drivers, and liability for the delivery company. All right, do I have a second? Second. All right, any discussion?
Which is to my understanding, if you put these racks in front of a home, you're reducing the value of the home.
That's for the other topic.
Oh, that's the other topic? Okay,
Don't worry,
then
we'll
I'll
get
do
to
it
that.
then.
Okay. Okay, we'll come to that. Any other discussion on this one? Okay. Great, all right. In the interest of time, let's vote on this one. All in favor, please raise your hand. Okay. Count. All right. Any opposed? Please put your hand out. Any opposed? Okay. Any abstentions or recusals? Great. Okay. I assume we have a quorum. Yes. Okay. That's good. Okay. More than enough. Okay. On June 10, 2025, the Traffic and Transportation Committee met in virtual quorum to further discuss and receive community input on Citi Bike expansion following the DOT's presentation in May 2025. Members of the public provided comments via email and during the scheduled meeting. The public as well as community comments were roughly categorized in the following camps. Number one, general support for expansion, with reasoning being accessibility of docks that would be a public benefit in promoting bike ridership, connectivity to a train and ferry, and that in use of docks for daylighting would promote street safety. Number 2, general opposition for expansion, with reasoning being the loss of parking spots and public safety concerns, especially for older adults, where street clearance is smaller than sidewalk dining at 6 feet versus 8 feet, which is a requirement for sidewalk dining. Additionally, it was remarked that 800 bikes was too many in place of the 40 parking spots, and there's about 80,000 residents in Bay Ridge. Specific station comments, so number 3 category, specific station comments, both suggesting alternative placements, additional docks, duplicative docks, and of note especially stations number 9 and 24 on Colonial 77th Street and Colonial and 78th Street being particularly close to each other. Those are about a block away. Most other ones are about 2 or 3 blocks away at minimum. And that this location should receive additional review due to historical accidents pre-daylighting installation and due to flooding issues. You might remember there's some earlier comments around these two stops. And number 4, in terms of categories, concerns on the pace of expansion. Some believe that expansion is too fast and they should start with 5 or 10 instead of 50. However, this is me as a chair. I do want to note that CD10 already has 5 docking stations on the north edge of the community that show elevated usage in comparison to stations at Sunset Park, indicating pent-up demand. This is what they remarked to us in the May meeting, the DOT. Additionally, there were other comments on compensation provided to the adjacent owner of a given Citi Bike spot and on the involvement of private operator Lyft. In light of committee and public comments, the committee approved the following motion. So I'm going to read the motion now. Okay. Motion to write to DOT and elected officials in support of additional transit accessibility, as this is not a bike versus car issue, and expressing that, number 1, the DOT should assess and address the specific station feedback as provided by the community and as gathered by CD10. Thank you for organizing that into a nice Excel sheet. And consolidate duplicative locations per location comments and roll out stations in a measured, data-centered approach. Number 2, in light of the fact that pedestrian safety is a major priority for the board, the DOT should place strong consideration for pedestrian safety when placing station locations strategically, noting especially the sidewalk clearance. Number 3, the DOT should build additional infrastructure to support bike ridership, such as the 4th Avenue protected bike lanes and additional bike-specific signage. Number 4, the DOT should minimize minimize reduction in parking spots, as parking is a major concern for the community, and strongly consider using the 8 bike docks instead of the larger 16 bike docks. 8 bike docks would take up 1 space, 16 bike docks would take up 2 spaces. Number 5, lastly, the DOT and elected officials should consider appropriate compensation to adjacent homeowners and business owners affected. And this was as approved by the committee, but I wanted to make a friendly amendment on this last point and add that it should be paid for by Citi Bike operators Lyft, which I think makes a lot of sense. Okay, do I have a second? Joe. All right, any discussion?
What you said, Jack, that's it. But I also want to make it clear that one thing that many people don't know is that the homeowner is responsible for the sidewalk and the maintenance of the sidewalk, not the city of New York. All right, so therefore you have these, I believe almost half of them will be on the sidewalk in front of somebody's home or somebody's business. And that person has to basically take care of that sidewalk, which is being destroyed by the bike splitter. I'm not saying intentionally anything of that nature, but I think they have to consider right off the bat that they've got to transfer that to Lyft. Lyft has to take care of those sidewalks. Every year it's got to come around, it's got to repair them, it's got to put on the cement, anything of that nature, they have to do, okay? And that's why I'm really in favor of this.
all elements fleshed out. Again, I did vote for the motion, but not as read, and I did go back and it was at 1 hour and 49 minutes where the motion is addressed. So please.
Described, like from 50 to 10, or mention actual reduced numbers?
I'm open to making changes to this, but I think we'll need to have like a amendment motion, unless it's broadly agreed. All right, please put your hand up if you still want to speak. Carmen?
I have to say utter chaos in there. We had a lot of people that were very tired. We were trying to listen to you on Zoom. And I don't remember anything about it, like a protected bike lane, because I would not have voted for it. Because we have one problem. I don't want to add a second problem to an issue that's still controversial. Yeah. And I just feel like we don't have enough to go. We have a lot of people, a lot of different opinions, and I still feel like we're at point A, because we still have bikes coming. We don't know how many. We have an upset neighborhood, and I feel like we should put this on pause to some degree. And what I had said earlier about Lyft, if they can pay almost $6,000 per bike, they can also provide some kind of safety rules of the game. We can't control what's already happening, but we can somewhat ask Lyft to help and say, hey, when somebody puts their credit card in, you can send them a text or something saying, this is what the rules in New York, just to slow them down a little, make them think.
Thank you. I want to repeat what Stephanie said. It was mentioned at the meeting, the need for protected bike lanes, but there was no discussion amongst the board at any point. That's another discussion another night.
Okay. Can we have a motion? Can I make a motion to strike that part of the statement? So number 3, striking the part of the statement that says, such as the 4th Avenue protected bike lanes.
Yes, Jack, I just would, again, to echo this, we have to only be able to vote on what was agreed upon that night. And because there was no specific language regarding 4th Avenue's protected bike lanes, for that reason, it has to be off of the table at this time.
Okay. So can we vote on striking that part of the language, just to be clear?
Why not?
Okay.
What are the discussions?
So, I mean, I already wrote the motion, right? And I would like to make that amendment, right? So I'm proposing that amendment on the floor. Okay. All right. All in favor?
Or do we need to vote on the amendment? We have to need to vote on the amendment.
Vote on the strike specifically.
Do we have to take?
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So I'm specifically striking the phrase that says, such as the 4th Avenue protected bike lanes. Right. With the full statement, taking that out. So, okay. I'll reread the full thing now. So I think we got that part passed. Okay. Motion to write to DOT and elected officials in support of this additional transit accessibility, as this is not a bike versus car issue, and expressing that, number 1, DOT should assess and address the specific station feedback as provided by the community and gathered by CD10 and consolidate duplicative locations per location comment and roll out stations in a measured data-centered approach. Number 2, in light of the fact that pedestrian safety is a major priority for the board, the DOT should place strong consideration for pedestrian safety when placing station locations strategically, noting especially the sidewalk clearance. Number 3, DOT should build additional infrastructure to support bike riderships, such as additional bike-specific signage, which is still kept in there. Number 4, DOT should minimize reduction in parking spots as parking is a major concern for the community and strongly consider using 8 bike docks instead of the largest 16 bike docks. Number 5, DOT and elected officials should consider appropriate compensation to adjacent homeowners and business owners affected with a friendly amendment to add and paid for by Citi Bike operators lift. Any additional discussion? Go Dan and then Dan and Ms. Saley.
I raised my hand the fastest this time. So I just want to talk a little bit about the 4th Avenue bike lane for now. Well, we're voting on for discussion before the vote. I want to talk about this a little bit. I think that this is actually responsive to the petitions that we've seen that have talked about a lack of infrastructure to support these bike lanes. And I think that the 4th Avenue bike lane is actually very consistent with the goal of the Citi Bike expansion here, which is the fact that this exists in Sunset Park, it exists in the rest of Brooklyn, but it doesn't exist in CB10. And that's also true of the 4th Avenue bike lane. It ends right at the BQE. So this is consistent with what's happening with the bike lane and making sure that we have the infrastructure necessary to support this. I understand all of the safety points that people have made here tonight and before. And if we want this program to work, we need to make sure that there's the infrastructure in place that bike riders, responsible bike riders, feel safe riding on the road rather than being, at the mercy of reckless drivers. So I think this is actually important, and I think it's important that we keep it in, even if it wasn't understood by everybody at the meeting that this was what was part of it. So I just want to speak in favor of that.
Saley, and I think Elizabeth had her hand up for some time. But go ahead, Saley and Liz.
Oh, sure. I was just gonna say, while I fully support everything that Danny is saying, I think it's an awful lot to shoehorn into this particular resolution, and I think it's something we will certainly bring up in the fall. Bike lanes once these stations start to be installed in the neighborhood.
I should note the 4th Avenue safety study is yet to come to our table. So
that's correct, and we have a pedestrian safety study in the works as well. Yes.
Okay. As TNT chair, I'm happy to revisit in the fall. I don't think that requires a separate motion to have that specific part of it, but we're already speaking about striking the 4th Avenue project market within this motion already. Yes, yeah. Okay. Any other board member discussion? Okay. So are we voting on? Okay. Okay, so no board members. Okay, all right.
Yeah, so I actually brought up the 4th Avenue bike lane when I spoke during the last meeting. This board has made a commitment to safe streets. We have the Pedestrian Safety Committee. We're looking into everything, motorists, non-motorists, pedestrians, and in order to have cyclists on our streets, we need to create space for them. Drivers don't have, the right to claim all of the street space. It's public space, and, part of making our community safer is implementing the necessary infrastructure for programs like Citi Bike to be successful and to encourage more people to choose to ride their bikes and to ditch their cars in the long run. That's going to also result into more parking spaces for everybody who needs it, and it's going to, cause less congestion for people who need to drive. So I think advocating for protected biking infrastructure and daylighting and using these docks for daylighting, that's something that the board should be doing. I don't think we should strike this amendment. I think, you know, maybe you don't have to name 4th Avenue specifically, but protected biking infrastructure should be in there.
Chris?
I just want to add to that the thought that you can build all the infrastructure you want if there's not a culture of safety that the community is involved with. It's meaningless. And you can go to Park Slope and you can see protective lanes fail. I'm just telling you that. I've been trying to say that over and over again. But we can take this up further. I think we should. I don't think this issue's over at all because we were invested in the safety of this and trying to make it work on one level or another. So.
Okay, so just calling to the floor the amendment to strike out that part of the statement. All in favor of striking out the 4th Avenue protected bike lane. So then the statement would read, number 3, DOT should build additional infrastructure to support bike ridership, such as additional bike-specific signage. Okay, that's what the statement would read. All right, all in favor of just amending that part of it? Okay, any opposed? Okay, we have. Okay, any abstentions or recusals? Okay, amendment passes. Back to the regular discussion. Elizabeth.
I noticed one of the community members mentioned a bus stop, that the Citi Bike station was going to be at a bus stop. And I think it might be important for people who don't have kids to understand that the kids who ride buses in our community are largely special ed kids. They're occasionally elementary school kids, but they're mostly kids on special ed school buses. So I wonder if we might consider putting something in there that they would consider, you know, not putting a Citi Bike dock where there are special ed school bus stops, or that should be a heightened consideration for safety. And then the second thing that I wanted to say is Lyft, like, it's a bedrock of our democracy that we have open courts. Lyft has a mandatory arbitration clause. So if you get injured in a Lyft or on a Citi Bike, you can't sue them in open court. You have to arbitrate, which means we don't know who's getting injured and what's happening. And I know this might not be a topic for today, but it's something to consider in the future, whether we want our city infrastructure to be supporting things like that are having mandatory arbitration, where we don't know exactly what's happening. That's all. Thank you.
Was that a motion that you wanted to make on the first point?
If it won't cause too much trouble, but yes.
Can you repeat the motion so I can write it down and then?
I'm not entirely sure where it would go, but that there should be heightened consideration for Citi Bike dock locations where there are special education school bus stops.
So heightened DOT should consider DOT should have heightened consideration for any docks that are currently slated to be located in school bus stops, or just put that in general consideration. Bus stop. That's pretty broad. Wait, so is it? There's 3 options, right? Special school bus stops, and then school bus stops. Which one is your motion? Yeah, which is your motion?
School bus stops, I think. I mean, I don't know what if people feel strongly that it should be all bus stops, I'm open to that too. But I don't know what that would mean practically.
No, I don't think so either. But yeah, yeah, school bus stops make a lot of sense. So we have a motion on the floor. I guess I'll second it to amend this statement to add DOT consideration for or heightened consideration for school bus stops. Okay. All right. Any discussion on this amendment? Can we vote on this amendment, please? All in favor? Okay. Any opposed? Any abstentions, recusals? Okay. Amendment passes. Abstention. Do you want to call to question? Okay. All right, Staley. One last comment, and then.
I think we're back to discussing the actual recommendation that we're making to DOT. So a comment on that. I just want to say that I feel like this is a pretty contentious issue, right? We heard a lot of different opinions, all valid, I think. both in this meeting tonight and also at our TNT meeting. But I think that this resolution really captures kind of the diversity of those opinions. I think we've done a pretty nice job of emphasizing pedestrian safety, which we have reaffirmed our commitment to back in December with a formal resolution in this board, and balance it against the real need for parking. By asking them in particular to consider smaller docks and essentially getting half the parking spaces back if they follow the suggestions that we're making in this resolution. So nothing's perfect. It probably doesn't please everybody in the room, but I think it does a nice job of capturing our community's feelings on this issue.
Okay, any other comments? All right, last chance. Okay. So the motion on the floor, I'm gonna, should I read it one more time? No, okay. All right, motion's on the floor. I can read it 5 more times if you guys want me to, I'm happy to. So motion's on the floor as amended to strike out the 4th Avenue protected bike lanes and as amended to add in the statement DOT should have heightened consideration for school bus stops, and also as amended to add the statement to add as paid for by Citi Bike operators lift to number 5. So all in favor of this motion, please raise your hand. Okay. Any opposed? Okay. Any abstentions or recusals? Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you so much, and we appreciate everyone's support and cooperation as we were able to gather so many different voices into this. Next, we go on to our Older Adult Issues, Housing, Health, and Welfare Committee report. Please welcome Chair Ruth Greenfield Mazer.
Good evening, everybody. The committee met on June 12th. We did not meet in quorum. It was a hybrid meeting, so we will have to have a vote here on the item that comes up. The first order of business that we discussed was to review a request for a community board resolution to make a community board resolution to support and advocate on behalf of New York City municipal retirees and urge the New York City Council to pass Intro 1096, which will preserve retiree health care choices by mandating that the city offer Medicare-eligible city retirees and their Medicare-eligible dependents at least one Medigap or supplemental plan with benefits equivalent to or better than available to city retirees as of December 2021. Jack Latour, a community resident, presented an overview of the New York City retiree health care issue. For many decades, New York City employees were promised and received traditional Medicare upon reaching the required age. However, for the past several years, New York City has been trying to take this benefit away and force New York City retirees into a Medicare Advantage plan that is inferior. It is a privately owned health care company known for denying claims and putting profits above patients. New York City retirees have brought their case to court 10 times and won each time. I heard tonight it was 11, so it's 10 or 11. It's lots of times. And each time the city appeals it again. There is a current decision pending in New York State Court of Appeals in Albany. Just recently, Councilman Justin Brannan wrote an op-ed in the AM New York newsletter in support of Intro 1096, and I suggest that anyone who's interested read it. It's very strongly worded. He speaks to the fact that the promise of traditional Medicare was made to all New York City employees upon being hired, and it was this promise that lured many people into taking the job and staying with it for a long time. And now the city wants to break this promise. Motion was made to support the resolution with a change to the opening sentence. The motion was seconded and a vote was held. It passed unanimously. The committee did not meet in quorum, as I said before. I have a copy of the resolution. I can read it. I know we're short on time. Should I read it? Anybody want to hear the resolution? Oh, I could see you're really enthusiastic about it. Okay, so we'll make believe you heard it because it really says everything that I said. Okay, so we need a second. Okay, Staley. Okay, thank you. And is there any discussion about this resolution? Who said that? Yes, Carmen.
Which I thought was the best thing. I've had 12 major surgeries, and I've had cancer, and I've been 9 months from the day this year, but that was going from New York all the way to 110th Street, 102nd Street, whatever doctor I'm going to see. Then they sold the Advantage Club. Well, no, they took on the Advantage Club. But 1 year after they took on the Advantage Club, they sold it to a different company. So when now, instead of dealing with Cigna, I have to deal with one company does the Onyx, one does the one, and for the first time, and after having taken it for 18 years, it will deny the most agency medical treatment, and then I have to appeal. And the appeal can take 10 letters, so that means when I go to the doctor, I have to make copies of everything, bills, the doctor's notes, the whatever, and it is the most costly thing that we do. If I have the opportunity to tell people, don't take advantage of that, you have no idea how bad this thing is. Because all my friends that have advantage plans in other companies are calling me for it. And when I have to cancer treatment, like infusion, that costs $5,000 a month, there's a government ready to pay for it. But then Cigna will say, oh no, didn't they give you something else? The answer is no, they did not give you anything. And thank God I keep that from the past because they said, wait a minute, you paid for this 3 other times, so now you're trying to tell me that you don't. And it, and I had a conversation where I told them, I don't have high blood pressure. You're giving me high blood pressure. Thank you. So those plans, they have where they can sell them and buy something. Okay.
Yes, well, you supported the reason to submit this resolution. I want to add that there are 250 retired municipal workers in New York City. 250,000. Yeah, didn't I say 1,000? Well, I meant 250,000, a lot of people. And they include the firemen, police who've worked hard for us, teachers. Yes, Jack? Okay, so I call the vote now that it's been seconded. All in favor of this resolution? Okay, anybody opposed? Okay. Okay, it passed unanimously. One recusal. Okay. Okay, I just want to say we had a second order of business. I'll say it very quickly. It was brought to our attention by a board member that this past March 2025, the Office of Medical Affairs, which is under the jurisdiction of the New York City Fire Department, issued a directive regarding transportation of patients when they call 911 to the nearest appropriate ambulance destination. It has to do with all 911 providers in the system. No longer can patients request to be taken to the hospital of their choice where they have been receiving medical care. For example, veterans usually request to be taken to the VA. There can be occasional exceptions made with approvals, but it used to be like that. And we were asked to make a resolution, support a resolution about this. However, committee members felt that they needed more information about this directive in order to form an opinion. District Manager Beckman suggested that since the Office of Medical Affairs falls under the jurisdiction of the Fire Department, we should have a joint meeting with both the Police and Public Safety Committee and this committee in the fall. We were all in agreement with this recommendation, and a motion was made to end the meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ruth. And next up, we want to thank our nominating committee. And now we call on our Secretary, Shirley Chin, to cast one vote in favor of the slate of officers for fiscal year 2026 that was presented at the May 19th, 2025 board meeting as follows. Chair, Sandy Vallis. Vice Chair, Stephanie Simone Mahaney. Secretary, Jack Zhang. Treasurer, Shirley Chin. Shirley? Vote in favor. Vote in favor. Thank you so much. Congratulations to our new slate of officers. We look forward to Mrs. Vallis in 3 years. Okay. Thank you so much. Do we have any other old business? Seeing none. Do we have any new business? Oh, we have one. Okay.
No, I was coming to this evening's meeting with Mrs. Victoria Hoffman and the other ladies who were speaking tonight. And we were waiting for the bus at Bay Ridge Avenue and 4th Avenue for the B64, which was going to come and leave us right here at the door. The sign said, the red display said, 34 minutes to the next bus. This is at 20 minutes of 7. We would have gotten there, but it would have been a lot later. So we're going to have to take a car service. I'm going to ask the transit authority what's going on. This is like a suburban type headways.
Thank you. Josephine will follow up with that. Any other new business? We have one over here. Thank you.
I'll be quick. The Joanne Seminara School of Law and Medicine, which we had the ribbon cutting. The medicine part is the students are going to get free dental work. There's a clinic. We didn't know what the law part would be, and I suggested to the principal that CB10 adopt the school, and we all, through our committees, teach these kids what civics is. Now, I understand from Jane that this is something which is going on through the city, but I would like to see us do it in a more concentrated way to make this connection. The principal loves the idea, Josephine loves the idea, Sandy loves the idea, so hopefully we can put this into motion.
Beautiful. Thank you. And then we will pick that up in the fall. Thank you. Anything else? Oh, I think I hear a motion. Happy summer, everyone. Thank you all.